Hello guys, I hope you're all doing well. My name is Lena Thompson, if you haven't seen any of my videos before, and I'm recording a series on human design and actually what it means to us as human beings, as conscious human beings. What does it mean to us in our life when we have more intuition, when we have more confidence, when we remember what are our life purposes, what it means to our life, what it means to our business, to our career, and also in relationship to each other. And that's why I found human design to be an extremely powerful tool to really help us to align to our vision, to our mission, and to our purpose. And it's actually interesting today. I just came back from a workshop on evolving your consciousness, your super consciousness, unblocking the limiting beliefs, creating a vision. So it was a very potent, incredible day. And one woman I met there, she was really struggling to make a decision about something. And then she was also sharing with me some of the challenges she had at home. And I actually said to her, let me do your profile quickly on human design. Now, she's never even heard about human design. So I pulled up my phone, I ran her charts, and she said, I mean, after I did like a little kind of introduction, I guess, of her design on human design, I think she was like speechless because she was just literally staring at me and she could not believe that something, like within a few minutes, she got so much in-depth knowledge about herself, about her decision-making, and also the relationship with someone really that she's in. And it just opened up her eyes on, on these challenges she's had, on a certain way of doing certain things. And it was like 10-minute conversation. Of course, it was very, very brief, but in 10 minutes, I think it made such an impact, such a shift to her, that imagine what will happen if you study and you actually embody this and you live it. You can literally quantum leap your business, your career, any of the challenges that you are facing. When you start living in true alignment with who you are, you can make such big progress in relatively short time. So anyways, today I actually wanted to talk about another energy type, which is Manifestor. Sorry, I'm just having a cup of tea. It's really cold outside. So in human design, there are 5 energy types. And if you're not really familiar with human design or what the energy types are, there are previous 3 videos I've recorded, so you can go and listen. And of course, you can go on Google and Google more about it. But there are 5 energy types, and what it actually means by energy type is how we give out, and this is how we receive energy from the environment, from the people around us, from the planets in transit, from wherever they hang out. And we all receive energy in a very different ways. Now, if you have your chart handy on you, if you know about your energy type, you will see that some of the areas in your chart are colored in, so they're called defined, and some of them are open, so they're called undefined. So wherever the openness is, this is how we absorb energy from the world around us. And wherever there is definition colored in, this is how we give energy to the world and to the people around us. And typically the conditioning, the programming usually happens from the open centers, wherever there is no definition, because not do we only take the energy of others, but we also amplify it. So for example, if you've got somebody, let's say if you've got a solar plexus open and you are in the presence of somebody who has a define and they have like an emotional episode, an emotional experience, you will not only experience what they feel, but you also amplify it and you become even double emotional. So sometimes, like in your home maybe, or even in the office, people will say to you, stop being so emotional. But when you look at your chart, you might not even be emotionally defined. They are, but because they're experiencing this emotion and you're amplifying it, they think you are super emotional. Okay, I hope I just made sense. So yes, there are 5 energy types: how we express, how we send out energy, how we receive the energy. And the type today I want to talk about is Manifestor. Now, manifestors, they're only about between 7 to 9% of population. And they used to be like the rulers, the kings and the queens and the pharaohs. And now that we need less of them, because we don't really need so many rulers. And there's a newish type, which is project. And I'll talk about it in the next video that came along in 1781. That's quite a new type. They really became less and less manifestors. So manifestors got super powerful aura or energy field around them. And it's kind of, Actually, in traditional human design, it says it's repelling, but it's not so much repelling, it's more like divisive. It's like you're with me or you're not with me. There's a polarity in their presence, in the energy field. And what makes them a manifestor really is the, first of all, undefined sacral center. Remember, if you've got a sacral center defined, you're a generator or a manifesting generator, and I've covered it in a previous video. Now, for manifestors, they've got a sacral undefined, but they've got a throat defined, so cut it in, and the throat is connected to a motor center. So that can either be a root center or a solar plexus or heart or the G center. So one of these four centers is connected. So if you have one of those connected, that means you're a manifestor with an open sacral. But if you run your chart on www.mybodygraph.com, you will be able to see your energy type. Now, the thing is with manifestors, they are very multi-passionate and they love to multitask. And usually what happens is they get this idea and they just go for it, okay? They don't even like pause to tell anybody what they're doing. And they may start at something and they will just not finish it because they'll get bored and they'll get angry if somebody tries to stop them or get on the way or even try to help them. My daughter's a manifestor, and when I did not know that she was, I didn't know anything really about manifestors, I thought I must have sinned in my previous life. I just really, I sometimes could not even understand what she was doing and communicating with her. She just wouldn't hear me. And now when I understand that she's a manifestor and I'm a generator and I have an undefined throat while she has a motor to her throat, so she's got a defined throat, she truly does not hear me. It's just the resonance, you know, we kind of, she, not because she's rude or misbehaved, but she truly cannot hear me. And I've also learned to find a different approach to her, and it's been really, really powerful in a relationship. So with manifestors, because they've got this motor center connected to the throat, they're here to literally speak things into manifestation, not like in a law of attraction, but basically they speak here. They're here to be heard, and they're very, very powerful. They're those like kind of leaders who multi-passionate, multitasking. They're here to get these crowds to go behind them. They start something and they're not necessarily finished. It's actually, they don't have that finishing energy, that building energy like generators do. In fact, manifestors, even though they've got so much power, they don't have the sacral center defined. So it means they don't have consistent energy and they have to take breaks. They've got to rest in between those kind of, you know, the manifestation, I guess, work when they try to get everybody to stand up and go take action. Now, the interesting thing also is that there's only between 7 to 9% manifestors who are truly here, the initiators. So they can initiate the words and the thoughts and the feelings into action. And that's 7 to 8%, right? So for rest of the population, so that's about 93, 91%, we are not really here to initiate. We're here more to respond, to wait for the invitation, to wait for the right opportunity to come along, not in a lazy way of things. We can still do something, but nothing that involves that outreach, that's initiating things, you know, bending things to our will. And if you think in business or at work, even with our children, you know, we all kind of programmed to start things, to go take actions, to initiate, to make that first move. And that's when people burn out, they get stressed, they get overwhelmed, they lose their passion, their enthusiasm, and they kind of kick on the autopilot. That's because they're not using their energy correctly. And understanding that will make such big difference to really any organization, to even to family dynamics, to everything in your life. So with manifestors, you are richly here, the initiators. Now the thing is with them, as I mentioned, they are very multi-passionate. They love doing multiple things at once. Because they move so fast and because they're doing so many things at the same time, that can create resentments. People just cannot really understand them. They're like, oh my gosh, he's off doing another thing. Oh my gosh, you know, she just said she's going to do this and now she's doing that. What is going on? Can't they just do one thing at the time? Can't they just finish things? There's so much resentment and judgment that can happen. And what will really help, if you're a manifestor, if you know somebody who is a manifestor, is to respond, is to inform. So before a manifestor really start taking this massive action or whatever action they're taking, they have to inform people who are going to be impacted by whatever they are about to do. Imagine like you on a date with a manifestor, right? And you sit down, you're going to watch a movie, and all of a sudden, like, he's gone. And you're like, what did I just say, right? And then the car is gone. And now, like, you think it's my fault, I said something wrong, or what, like, you lost completely. In the meantime, he's had this wonderful idea about going and getting some popcorn, you know, because there is no popcorn in the house, and he thought it would be a really, really sweet idea. Then he comes back and you're like in tears. You thought he's like dumped you, break up with you. I mean, this is just a silly example, okay? Or like at work, a manifestor will decide, well, they kind of like want to move on. They're a bit bored on the job. They don't tell the partner, don't tell the colleagues. He just goes like empties his desk, gives a resignation, walks out. So these kind of things that can happen. And in order really to avoid any conflicts or any resentments or judgments, to, you know, smoothen that ride, I guess it's important for them just to inform before they sprint into next action. And another thing why it's really important to inform is that people sometimes, you know, people want to be nice. They want to help you out. But as a manifestor, you probably don't need help. You're quite capable of doing things on your own, at least initially when you initiate, because then you do need the backup. You do need a team of generators, projectors who would help you, who would support you, because once you step away and you start something else, you need someone to finish it, okay? And you don't have that finishing energy. So like with my daughter previously, she'll start drawing, she'll take everything out, then she'll take her toys out, she'll get a book, she'll put a TV on. And before I'm like, just study first thing up and then you can do something else, but like just one thing at a time, because, you know, that's how I was brought up. This is how I brought up my son. But now realizing that she's a manifestor, I'm like, you know what, just go do all of it. Just when you're done, just study up a little bit and maybe just put the noise on the TV down. So it's, as I said, you know, it's a very different approach. Now, also, when you communicate with them, when you ask them questions, they don't really respond well to yes or no question. For them, it's more of an open mind, like open-ended question, right? So, for example, if you've got a child who's a manifestor, I'm just using my daughter as an example. You can say, what would you like for breakfast, right? But now if your child or whoever else you're communicating with is a generator, you can say, do you want cornflakes? Like a yes or no, okay? So for manifestors, it's giving them as many choices as you possibly can. Because they do need to be able to choose, because they need to feel that power within them to go and initiate things. And when they really initiate things, it's never really about our minds, right? And how we're going to do something, and does it really make sense to do this now, or shall I wait for this? For manifestors, it's more like, it's like this pool within the body. It's like the whole body is letting them know, yes, it feels so good. It's always about how they're feeling. And if that feels good, that's when they go inform first and initiate. And of course, you know, it's like one of the human design coaches, Karen Curry Parker, she's incredible. She actually talks about manifestors. It's like throwing spaghetti on a wall, you know, checking whether it sticks or not. So this is what they do, right? They inform someone, gonna go move ahead, feels amazing, throw spaghetti in the wall, yeah, it sticks, brilliant, you know, I'm gonna go and do it, and then get generators, projectors, maybe a reflector on board to support me. No, it doesn't work, it fell off, okay, next. And that's how they actually meant to function, not one thing at one time, like for generators, for example. So what else? Oh yeah, so the manifestors also, the not self theme is they get angry. And I know what that feels like. An angry manifestor is scary, even if they're like 5 years old, even scarier probably. So it's always like good for them, you know, to have a strategy, like you maybe like for your child, if you have a manifestor child, like to get a pillow, something that they can go and they just beat up, or they take their anger and frustration on, so they will know this is their safe space. They have to express their emotions. And if you think, you know, how we also were brought up, maybe you can't cry, you can show your emotions. And for boys, it's like, boys don't cry. And we suppress them. So for manifestors, it's really important from the young age to really get that anger, everything out, and to know that they are okay to work on multiple things at the time, that it's okay that not everybody would follow them, because remember, their aura is like polarizing the energy. People are either with them or not with them, and it's okay that not everybody is with them. The right people will be there to support them. And of course, it's very, very, very important to inform. And the sooner this starts, the easier it will be for them. So like now, if I ask my daughter, I'm going to obviously use her as an example. And if I'll say, it's bedtime and I can see she's not hearing me, then I will say, how many minutes do you still want to play? Or would you like to do X, Y, or Z, or maybe all three of them for another 5 minutes before going to bed? So now when I start giving her those choices, instead of completely ignoring me, she would always pick a choice, and most of the time actually stick to the commitment she's made. So important to inform. If they get angry, it means that they really haven't informed, or they're not following that pull and they're just overthinking it, and they're throwing spaghetti on the wall that constantly comes off and does not stick.